Welcome, everybody, and we are going to be getting into NJCU versus Catawba College League of Legends. It's going to be a fun one today. I am TaazDragon, and joining me is.
Hi, I'm TurquioseYoshi.
And yeah, we're going to be getting right into this game soon. What do you think about how this matchup's going to go down?
This is a pretty interesting one. I think these teams are reasonably evenly matched. I think it'll be kind of a strength versus strength matchup. For Catawba, it is very much in that top lane. Their top laner never be game over. Great player, loves those carry picks, loves the Camille, loves the Jace, the Fiora, the Gangplank, all these very scary picks where if they can get ahead in the early game, then they can be kind of scary down the line, and it will be an issue for the side of NJCU to try to keep that top laner under control. It will require a lot of probably smart jungle pathing, maybe a more turtling laning top laner potentially. Those things could probably help in that sense. And then on the side of NJCU, we've all seen them prior. Paco Parrot, fantastic player. There's a lot of flexibility that this team has in their picks and even their positions. And overall, it just ends up being they do a great job of controlling the macro game very well. So we'll see how well Catawba can stop NJCU from having that macro advantage and try to win through the top lane, which isn't especially popular, but when you have a great player like Never Be Game Over to try to facilitate that, all you really need is the rest of the lanes to try to facilitate, I guess, that sort of carry. But even still, it's not like you can fully focus around there. You're probably going to want to keep your bot lane stable. You want to make sure that nothing silly can happen there. You want to keep your mid lane stable. Their mid laner, Catchin' Feelings, is a pretty solid Akali player. Someone to definitely watch out for as this series moves forward. Has a couple of other solid champions, but definitely the Akali is favored. And that can definitely be a scary champion who can run over games, even if whatever top laner they go with is not able to.
Mm-hmm.
So it might be something, and something I've noticed in the past from NJCU is a lack of willingness to go for tankier compositions, especially characters with more innate tanky ability, especially in that bot lane. So I'd like to see a bit more of that, kind of a safer overall, like full game option where maybe you have some engaged potential early on and are able to make something happen, but you're also able to scale a bit better later into the game with like Leona or Alistair's damage reduction, making sure that you're not getting run over as easily, and maybe able to get some CC off on the much scarier carries on the side of Catawba.
Yeah, definitely. I do want to see really where the jungle priority goes, because of the larger like meta junglers, I really only see Lilia, and so I wonder if like the Heckrooms, the Udyrs will be left on the table for NJCU to be able to take, because they are very, very strong and can just provide a lot of utility to their teams and kind of open up that top lane and that support role to be something other than engage or something other than a front line. And so I want to see what junglers both teams decide to kind of gravitate towards, because usually most teams kind of have a set standard of like, oh, we prefer Udyr over Hecarim, or we prefer Hecarim over Udyr, and it kind of goes back and forth and really depends on the team, as well as we've seen a lot of Lilia less presence for the most part, but definitely slowly rising, and especially hopefully in this matchup we see it a little bit more, and because she is just such a flexible jungler.
Yeah, and for NJCU in particular, we tend to see a bit more of those tanky picks. The Amumu we've seen a couple of times as a high priority pick. The Hecarim has definitely shown up, and I believe the Ujir has as well, but NJCU does like to go for a more supportive, flexible, engaged jungler, the Zac, the Amumu, champions that are tanky, have a bit weird of gank paths, but late in the game provide their ultimate, maybe some other CC, and are just generally kind of useful there. So it's definitely something that we will look out for, because that's not necessarily the meta, and maybe those champions will get outpaced by a Lilia and have trouble causing impacts on the map. So it might be a weak point of NJCUs if they don't decide to draft one of those power picks in the meta right now.
Yeah, definitely, because we can definitely have a little bit of a different mix-up depending on comfort picks, because in collegiate a lot of comfort picks matter a lot more than the meta picks necessarily, and and I want to see if level 1 baby slime maybe even gets his zillion in the bot lane as well, because that has back and forth between either heavily banned out or given to him every game, so it really will depend like how what's it called, what they end up going for with bans, other than that maybe that zillion.
Yeah, I do think the draft priority is going to be really important for these games. What players are they going to focus? Who do they think they need to support? Like, I think the top lane is probably going to be one of the places where NJCU will need to provide extra ban support and potentially extra pick support early on to the draft to make sure they've got the matchup that they want. But it will be a bit difficult in order to make that sort of thing happen. So yeah, I'm really not sure. This Catawba team is very good. This entire squad has a lot of strong players on it, so don't be surprised if someone else is able to pop up and make some impressive plays happen.
Yeah, definitely, and this is the semifinals of the playoffs as well.
That's single elimination, correct?
Yep.
So gotta win. There are some quick issues moving forward in this part, so we may be a minute. I think actually we're going to take a quick break, and we'll come back with champion select. So yeah, definitely stay tuned, and we will have NJCU versus Catawba very soon.
Yep, and we'll be getting into champion select real quick now.
Yeah. So as we said earlier, take a look at the top lane, take a look at the jungle, probably going to be some of the highest priority points. Probably jungle for early picks and top for potential late counter pick. But also probably a lot of ban pressure towards both of those positions as well. So when it says NJCE there, it looks like it says nice. So it will be Catawba on the blue side for game number 1 and NJCU on the red here. And there it is. There's the thing that shows us in ban. All right.
There we go.
Rel is the first ban. I don't mind it. It's a ban towards Paco Parrot's support. I don't think Paco Parrot is necessarily the most priority pick, especially towards the support, because Paco Parrot's probably going to be moving towards that mid lane for this series. But it's not a bad ban, and Rel's just a very good champion. Diana's a bit interesting.
That is a little interesting, but Rel, definitely a very strong pick. GP, we were talking about the carry top laners. Makes a lot of sense. GP also just a very strong champion in general. We don't want him to kind of, stay in the game for very long. Jace ban. really targeting this top lane from Catawba.
Yeah, you can see both sides kind of putting that pressure on the top lane. Darius getting banned away from Don't Miss Your Mark, and a couple of top lane bans for NJCU against Catawba. The Fiora and the Camille are the two priority picks left over right now. And instead, the Syndra will get banned. The Akali is available for Catching Feelings as well as a possible pick. So definitely keep your eyes out for that champion. The Akali is one of the main picks that the mid laner of Catawba still has available.
An early Karma pick.
It's not a horrible first pick, I think. I'm guessing this means that Bot Senpai is going to be playing support for Catawba. A pretty solid Karma player, plays a lot of Karma, but also it's Karma. And there's Zyra Karma. That's a 2016 Worlds. Boy, that's a bit of a throwback there, but Zyra definitely provides a lot of pressure in lane, is one of only a couple of champions that can actually outpush the Karma, and has a couple of little tools to make Karma's life a little bit more annoying. The Lilia early for NJCU is a little surprising to me. I really wasn't expecting that, but I like it. It's good pressure on a priority jungler, and on the other side, ooh boy,
Olaf and Gwen locked in, and see, that's one thing that I really like is with an early pick of a Karma can go into the mid lane and the support role, and as well as unlocks Olaf. Well, you know, he used to be a very heavily prioritized jungler, and now he's kind of fallen off for the most part. But with that Karma, kind of re-enables him to his former glory with that shielding and move speed.
All right, thanks for stalling for time there. I had to Google Gwen's ability. Gwen very recently released, but it does definitely fit the playstyle for Catawba's top laner. Likes the split pushing, likes the dueling, likes those extended trades. All these Gwen is absolutely great at. And so I'm not too surprised that we're seeing something like this in game number 1 as that kind of showing it off, I guess, right now. You don't want to have to keep banning champions away from this top laner, especially like ones you've never seen before. But NJCU does. Oh, go ahead.
It is a AP top laner as well, so it does open up mid lane to maybe even go into an AD role.
Yeah, or just split the damage in general, because you have Olaf for AD. Potentially, you could even shift Karma to mid lane, to be completely honest. Because now you have very consistent magic damage. You don't necessarily have to worry as much about it. So there are a lot of options available because of this Gwen. No ban. I wonder if that is supposed to be something. It's a Camille. So that is a Camille ban against Catawba's top laner. Kind of surprised to see that ban actually locked in, given we've already seen the Gwen, but maybe they expect it in a different role. I've seen Gwen.
Also kind of surprised about the brand ban and the Galio. More the brand ban than anything, because Zyra probably gonna go support, and brand. I don't think I've seen brand mid lane in a couple years. So
yeah, we've generally seen brand played as support for NJCU, but it is a potential flexible zone, and you don't necessarily want to leave anything like that up. Just getting the comfort out of the way is nice by itself. We do see the Urgot locked in. I guess that's not a bad pick, honestly. It's fairly tanky, but also has the range to pick up CS in lane even when you're being bullied out. So definitely not a horrible decision. It's something that will scale fairly well as well, even if it gets a little bit of damage done to it early on. And as you say, Lucian locked in for the mid lane as Ezreal is locked in bot, double ADs, that is supplemented by that Gwen top lane. So they're really riding on this Gwen, doing a significant amount of damage later on into the game if they do get to that point. And last is the Anivia locked in. So this is a very damage-heavy composition.
Yeah, and I really like the Anivia actually here, because you have the Olaf, you have the Karma, you have the Lucian and the Gwen that really want to go into you, and the Anivia kind of just shuts that down really well. and it might even force the Olaf to flash rather than Ghost, because like you need to get over that Anivia wall, because in the mid game it will just be so much space denial and just engage denial against that Olaf. So definitely, you know, one really good thing. But I do want to, I want to see a couple things, is what the Lilia build is. Please build Moonstone, please. You
Ooh,
have,
okay.
you know, a lot of AP on your team, as well as what like how they play these team fights, because as you said, very damage heavy team, very scary to play or play as a team with basically no front line.
Yeah, I will say that NJCU is a bit more helped by that than normal. Urgot is a very tanky champion. At the very least, that will be helpful for them. But even with that, it will still be a little bit on the difficult side in order to do that. Does look like Scabs ate my legs and Kue are going to be in this game as well. To update my own notes. um, but yeah, on the side of Catawba, this is a bit of an interesting composition. I would call it a 1-4, maybe. Uh,
I would say a 1-3-1 with the Lucian in a side lane.
Potentially a 1-3-1. That's definitely right. I mean, if you're able to split off, it's not much that Urgot and Anivia can do, even with teleport up into that. And especially, they're very weak to getting collapsed upon in a side lane. But fundamentally, I do think that Gwen is going to be the power point of the team, not the slideshow software, but, you know, kind of the pivot this team will kind of use. But I don't know. We'll have to see how this early game goes. I feel like this game's going to ride very heavily on the early game. I want to know how much the potential top lane skill gap is going to mean for the entire game versus what potentially could be a decent bottom lane skill difference. With Paco Parrot being a great player on this Zyra, could be potentially very scary of a matchup, which might be why I'm Poofy and Bot Senpai have decided to opt for like the most safe passive bottom lane you could ever imagine. Karma and Ezreal just sit at a million years away. They sit very far away and use their own abilities and try to poke you out a little bit and shield themselves and run away, and they have all the options to not necessarily get caught as easily. So that might be something we'll have to watch out for, because Urgot doesn't necessarily have the same kind of options, despite being very safe comparatively on that top side. So if Don't Miss Your Mark does get caught a few too many times, that could be a very dangerous place for the NJCU team to be in if they're not able to find advantages all over the map. Looking at it again now. Oh, go ahead if you're going to say something.
Yeah, I really want to see, maybe even also in this bot lane, I want to see what Zyra ends up going for itemization, because usually she likes the Leandries, but so does Anivia. So I think Anivia, honestly, this game should probably end up going the Luden's Echo, because I think across the board you're looking at very squishy members that you can burst out. Olaf is the only one that you're kind of scared of. But at the end of the day, you have Zyra. You have so much damage from this team that I think you can afford to go the Luden's Echo to kind of burst out these squishier members that are going to be coming at you, and then look for, and then again, the Moonstone and the Lilia. One thing I really want to see, and what mythic Urgot ends up going, it's usually I've seen mainly just Titanic Hydra into Stridebreaker, which probably will end up being the case in this game, and will allow a pretty consistent, actually, skirmishing with the Gwen. I do want to see how that lane ends up going, because it is I guess a lane that we have to pay attention to, because it probably can be pretty volatile from both sides. As well as what the Urgot itemization goes for, like maybe a defensive item or something along the lines of healing reduction, because Gwen heals a lot, so does Olaf,
Mhm.
but it is split damage, so it will make his life a little bit harder.
Mhm. Yeah, that'll definitely be a difficult point for Don't Miss Your Mark to try to deal with. And I think that will really be the key point. And one thing I do want to focus a little bit on before we get into this is this jungle matchup. We were talking a little bit in Champion Select about the champions that these junglers might end up going for. They've gone for a pretty conventional duo. The Olaf, who is incredibly fast, hard clearing, able to gank very quickly, moving through the jungle and out of the jungle. And the Lilia, who physically does move very fast, but the clears can be a little bit slower and generally ramps up really well as the game moves forward, as you're
Mhm.
able to kind of kite around fights a little bit better than the Olaf, who kind of just has to run at people until they kite him away or he runs them down. Uh, so it'll be a very exciting matchup, how much I am sure of. So we are about to hop into the actual uh, game itself. I am really excited to see how this turns out. I a lot of the times I go into these kinds of series kind of knowing who's gonna win, kind of expecting how it's gonna turn out. I'm really not sure how this one's gonna go. I think this Catawba team is very good, and in this semifinal round, you have to have been very good to even get here. But I really don't know how these teams are going to stack up in this one. So here we are in the game. Uh, Looking at runes, nothing too out of the ordinary. A lot of conquerors on the side of Catawba, but I can't say I'm too surprised by that. A lot of their champions like Conqueror. Um, it's more of a weird detail that a bunch of the champions picked Conqueror more than anything else.
Yeah, definitely. As well as the more aggressive rune choice, actually going out of Gen with the Dark Harvest as well, rather than the fleet footwork that I've seen every once in a while in more passive lanes, or when you're going against more poke heavy lanes. But
hmm
definitely looking for more damage when you have that Zyra as well.
Probably trying to win through this bottom lane, I think, which I think is probably smart. I think it's probably the skill wise the most likely way that this team can pull out a victory, but still it could be very difficult to make that happen with these champions here, which is why I kind of like this Catawba draft, picking a very safe bottom lane in order to try to let the rest of the team carry around them. But we'll see if it ends up working out for them. Both junglers starting blue side, so they'll end up probably on opposite sides if both of them go for closer to full clears.
Yeah, no, a little surprising on that point, because honestly, I would have expected the opposite of this, because Catawba definitely wants to kind of pressure this top lane, and NJCU really wants to pressure this bot lane. So I'm a little surprised on the choice of jungle pathing, but it might just also be comfort in wanting to have blue buffs on both of these champions. Definitely enables them to have a little bit of a faster clear.
hmm And potentially it is to try to, instead of trying to push their strengths, their strong points of the map, maybe it's to try to cover their weak points, make sure that, okay, if anything bad is happening top lane, we have a way to stop it. Although that's a lot of early damage for, ooh, you get the Conqueror and that happens. Hate to see it.
Yeah, the fully stacked Q definitely gonna be a big chunk out. It was level 1 to level 2, so it was still a pretty good trade overall for Don't Miss Your Mark, and having the uh, Dorn's shield on his side as well will allow him to sustain up for the most part in that lane, so it shouldn't be too bad. And if he's winning early trades, it shouldn't be too difficult if especially if he lands that disdain consistently.
Hmm. But even still, it's a bit of an early CS deficit. You don't want to fall behind too much, and you don't want to be chasing too far for that CS and die in lane. So probably just going to be extended turtling under tower. Although we actually have an early... Oh, that's actually kind of smart from Catawba, moving their mid laner and top laner who have the push on their own sections of the map down to pick up one Scuttle Crab as Hopian is taking the other. So free double Scuttle. I mean, the other Scuttle is not going to Hopian, but it's also not going to Scabs Ate My Legs. So nice advantage gain there.
Yep, and Bot Senpai getting chunked out pretty hard, but Hopian, and at the end of the day, getting a lot of mileage here, actually getting not only the Grump, but also the Wolves from NJCU's side. So Scabs Ate My Legs is going to be very far behind for quite a bit, because with 2 camps stolen, he can go right back into his jungle, start clearing again, and be quite happy. Whereas, like, yeah, we see 32 to 14 and level up to 16 once he finishes clearing the camp. But that's going to be a very, very large lead for Hopian early, and that is something you really want to see from Olaf, because just Olaf, very, very strong early game jungler, and allows him to, honestly, less of a gold lead, to being completely honest, and more of an EXP lead. And once that Ragnarok is online, he can just start chain ganking everywhere.
Yeah, and on top of that, despite moving to Scuttle Crab to take it, both Catchin' Feelings and Never Be Game Over are still significant CS leads ahead of their lane opponents. So we already have about 1,000 gold lead for Catawba without even First Blood happening yet, which for this stage of the game is very significant, but it does look like a fight.
Yep, and the mid lane. Ooh, Catch Felix flashing forward, gonna find it with a relentless pursuit at the end. And Scabs Ate My Legs gonna be wasting flash there. Both flashes committed for the side of Catawba, so 2 flashes for 1, but they do end up getting the kill. And good stuff from Catawba overall off the beginning. But ooh, QA not gonna get caught out too hard, but gonna have to commit a flash of his own, which is not good for him now. And was hoping his jungler could walk over and make sure that he got the wave pushed in, but now Lucian's gonna be able to get a freeze. He got a kill on top of it all, and if you have to waste your flash, it's looking like a rough lane for this Anivia.
Yeah, definitely a huge play by Catawba there, finding Scabs in the bush. That was just, it was a pretty good play, and Scabs did not seem perfectly ready to flash out. Probably should have gone over the wall instead of trying to run out at first and then flashing vertically. But at the end of the day, Catawba got the First Blood onto their carry mid laner and are still pretty large CS leads in most of their lanes. The bottom lane is bleeding out a little, but it's really not that big of a deal. If their top and mid lanes are able to stay neutral, like stay this far ahead or even gain in this period of time, then they'll be perfectly fine. We do have ultimates available for solo lanes now. That should at least help Kue to make sure that they are not getting pushed in as hard anymore, but it will still be a bit difficult to try to manage this lane against a pretty strong Lucian at this point. Probably going to have the Essence Reaver fairly soon, which is a great spike for this Lucian. So many of the new items, like on the ADC side, feel like they were made just for Lucian.
Yep,
Ooh.
definitely feels good, but ooh, the disdain gonna hit, but the hallowed mist gonna come out as well as the ultimate, and now Never Be Game Over is just gonna finish them off with that snip. And now QA is gonna get run down by the culling, but nothing else can be found quite yet.
Yeah, Koi had a good wall there to block off Bot Senpai, which actually allowed them to walk out of the Anivia or the Karma Tether range, which was the only thing that was really stopping Kue from just walking out of that situation because there was no CC on Lucian. So
I
definitely
like
smart
that
there.
I liked the idea from NJCU. I think they should have just followed through with it. But they want to go and catch the bot lane wave for their AD carry and support. But a little bit unfortunate, not able to find anything, and Olaf could be getting a free Rift Herald in the top side.
Mm-hmm.
Yep,
We
there
are.
it goes.
Mm-hmm. And we are getting to a bit of a worrying spot for NJCU. They're down
Oh,
a
bot
little
lane
over
fight
3K.
though. Paco Bear looking low, but in case KP Cooper also getting her done. Ooh, a beautiful ult coming out from Zyra to punish the overextension from the Karma. The flash going in, not gonna find it. Ooh, but the flourishing does end up hitting, but catching feelings going in with a relentless pursuit. Piercing light, not gonna do it. Paco Parrot living with 1 HP. Whew.
And despite the big advantages that Catawba has gold-wise already in this game, NJCU doing a great job again of having the numbers advantage, able to TP down. They had the TP advantage. Oh,
Ooh.
well, that's unfortunate. um, definitely puts a bit of a damper on that previous success, but the TP advantage definitely made a lot of a difference there, and this could be a problem.
Yeah, and QA is just going to be walking into the Gwen here, and Catching Feelings is going to be here as well with the Ragnarok available. The egg's not going to matter. Those are going to be some scrambled
Oh,
eggs looking good for Catawba, and the Rift Herald is going to be dropped in the mid lane as well. And I like this. I like the Rift Herald being used in the mid lane because a lot of people are like, you know, you want to use it to break open an early tower, etc., etc. But I think just getting the gold into the pockets of the Lucian and breaking up that mid turret, just getting it low and kind of making Anivia scared once those plates do end up going down. Making Anivia scared of just being like, this turret can go down at any point, and just making sure that Anivia doesn't have a safe haven in that mid lane.
mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's getting more and more difficult for
Ooh,
Kua
hop
and Don't Miss Your
in.
Mark. Ooh,
Landing the first undertow, landing the second. Is he
I
gonna
don't know
keep
if
on
this is safe.
going? Alright, he's just gonna take
Yeah,
the blast cone over.
I don't think there was a safe way to walk forward. Don't Miss Your Mark was kind of waiting on the blast cone. I don't think that there was a way for Hopia to make that happen, but it was scary, and that is probably your main impact at this point, is to make the solo laners scared, because they are having a really rough time. This CS deficit is enormous. The kills on the solo laners are really important, and as much as NJCU's bottom lane is doing pretty well, it's not going to neutralize things right now, especially when, I mean, in a 1v1, Catching Feelings can probably take anybody in the map, or Never Be Game Over can absolutely 1v1 anyone here. Still, NJCU does a really good job on the macro play. They're actually grabbing the dragon, which, given the current game so far, they really shouldn't be able to. But at the same time, it's possible that Kataba's not really too focused on dragons, hoping to have secured a large enough lead before the Dragon's Soul win condition becomes a real threat. Um,
Yeah, well, this is the first one. They do have pressure in this bot lane with this Jhin Zyra combo that they drafted, so it definitely, you know, allows them to, you know, have pressure in the lane and to kind of, you know, those early dragons should be NJCUs. Deadly Flourish gonna hit the ultimate from Zyra, and that's a dead Ezreal real fast.
hmm Yeah,
Yeah.
and I will say Kataba's done a pretty good job of avoiding
Ooh,
dying
Paco
from that.
Parrot It's gonna end up going down here. The Ragnarok coming in, the exhaust coming out. KP Cooper getting the 4th shot off, but not gonna have enough damage. Okay,
That's the
Karma
Urgot.
getting there low, but Urgot gonna TP in. Don't miss your mark. Gonna look for it. Finds the Fear Beyond Death, but not gonna follow through with it. Gonna end up going down before it finishes channeling.
Yeah, I mean, I like the idea of just everyone commit to this play, but Don't Miss Your Mark took a lot of damage from a trade on the front end of that, and then was just never able to.
Ooh,
Ooh,
the stride worker in, Hopian. Oh, okay, but the lilting lullaby does come in and to save Scavs 8 my legs. Unfortunate not having the Ragnarok available there, but Scavs 8 my legs gonna use his flash as well, so
I mean, yeah, Hopian has just done a very good job so far. NJCU having a really difficult time trying to play around this Olaf. Now with no Ragnarok, no
ooh.
flash. Yeah.
Yep, those grasping roots gonna get him, and just the chain CC, but oh, so much damage coming out of this Gwen, but the disdain gonna hit and get him the shield. Oh, it's gonna keep him going around the turret, and great stuff from Don't Miss Your Mark there. Never be game over, getting a little bit too greedy.
Just a little bit too greedy, misses the ultimate. I believe it was flashed away, one of the shots of the ultimate, which was how Don't Miss Your Mark was able to stall out just that little bit longer and get the disdain off, survive out of that. So definitely very well done there, but still a pretty significant deficit that should neutralize things a little bit more. And as you mentioned in Champion Select, the Executioner's Calling was already built by Don't Miss Your Mark to try to stop the healing. Even still, it's a very difficult matchup to try to manage right now.
Yeah, and Merc Treads as well coming out to kind of mitigate a lot of that magic damage that is going to be coming in. But Gwen does have her Rift Maker completely finished, and Mythics basically, or at least first items across the board for Catawba in that top side coming in already, where the rest of NJC, or all of NJCU, still kind of scrapping together items looking for those Mythics or those first items to come in, so.
Hmm. Interesting. It seems like I'm Poofy hasn't opted for a tier at any point so far. Instead has the Sheen and the uh,
Serrated
lethality,
Dirk.
serrated dirk. But to call it the lethality dagger, the serrated dirk. Uh, so a little bit interesting on the build path there. I mean, it's not an incredibly unusual build path apart from the no tier item. Uh,
Yeah, definitely. Currently, with the new Triforce, I don't know, like Ezreal itemization has kind of been up in the air, especially after S3 getting nerfed last patch. It's very much the Wild West of Ezreal builds currently, because before this, it was kind of the mythicless build that everyone wanted to go. But oh, the piercing light actually going to end up getting flashed away, and Scavs at my legs is going to have to use the lilting Oi to save himself, but not going to end up saving him in the end of it all. And the egg gonna get popped for the Anivia with that undertow, and that's a second Rift Herald getting dropped into the mid lane.
Yeah, and this one they're going to pick up a lot on because there is absolutely no defense there. Everyone else is just sitting in lane. This is still laning phase for everyone else. So that Rift Herald might get a push on the... It doesn't get a push, I think, on the mid lane inner. Oh, it did actually get a charge on the mid lane inner. So that, or the mid lane inhibitor turret even. So that's a bit of a scary point. You kind of want to rotate your team around at this point if you are NJCU to get KP Cooper and Paco Parrot to sit in the mid lane, but at the same time, that would be sacrificing your biggest advantage in this game right now.
Yeah, and second
And
dragon is up, and it looks like NJCU is going to be going for it. And Catawba has no care in the world about this dragon, because they're like, we'll give you the first two, we'll fight around the third one once our solo laners have 2 items and are even further ahead of you guys with a 7k gold lead almost at this point in the game. So definitely very, very scary across the board. We see a 2.3k gold lead in the top lane, almost a 4k gold lead in the, or actually a 4.3k gold lead in the jungle, and a 1.8k gold lead in the mid lane for Catawba. So just across the board, this top side is just doing so much work for Catawba.
Yeah, and it gets to a difficult point for NJCU. They're still trying to push down this bot lane outer. They do finally get it, but I mean, so much has been lost in the mid lane in the meantime. And now, where do you really shift this focal point of the map? I think they're going to want to reset and put this duo in the mid lane to try to cover up the issues there, maybe push down that mid lane turret if they can get a prolonged 2v2 there, but it's going to be a lot more difficult because of everyone's movement around the map. And now NJCU has to really move towards kind of mid game mode, focusing more around how they can get these objectives, try to get more. Oh, that's going to help.
Grasping finds into the Strangle Thorns once again. Paco Bear gonna snipe out, catching feelings, and looks like all he's gonna be doing is catching these vines. And now back into the base he's going, and a little bit of mid lane pressure for NJCU. They're not gonna find too much after that. Bot lane is pushing out, so they can't really do too much about that wave. Gwen is missing in the top lane, and Hopyun's gonna be going in with the Ragnarok. The Lilting Lullaby is not gonna matter with the unstoppable Ragnarok coming in. Ooh, the Deadly Flourish is going to hit, and the Lilting Lullaby gonna come in now, actually. Beautiful stuff. The Hallowing Mist coming in for Never Be Game Over. Ooh, gonna find a kill with the ultimate, and a second kill with the ultimate. Don't miss your mark is just a little bit too late. Catching feelings coming up clutch as well with that TP, and that is an ace for Catawba.
Yeah, NJCU is playing very good fundamentals, rotating around well, rotating as a team. They definitely understand what they're doing in that sense, but you are so far behind at this point. If you just have any deep wards like those deep wards that Never Be Game Over and Catching Feelings decided to flank from, if there are any wards like that, it does not matter how well positioned you are, you're probably just going to get run over by the big numbers that the other team is throwing at you. Hopian was just able to basically half health the entire team, uh, even using his stride breaker as distance closing without hitting the damage part of it, the damage or the slow part of it, and just kept kind of running them down. And even after death, like, the rest of the team was able to easily clean up everything. So that definitely felt like the fight that Catawba had been looking for a while. It's just that Catawba needs that one fight that will burst open potentially a Baron, and basically allow them to close out this game. That's basically what they're looking for, and basically what NJCU is trying to avoid in the near term. Thankfully, NJCU has the ability to turtle for a while because the dragon is not really going to be a concern for very long. The Cloud Dragon stacking is not incredibly important, even if Catawba is able to pick up a couple of them. Ultimate cooldown reduction isn't the most important thing to any of the champions on Catawba necessarily. So you're really looking at it as NJCU is going to want to turtle for a while, eat minion waves, try to avoid dying and giving up that Baron. And Catawba is going to try to force a Baron because that's how they break open the rest of this game. But right now it seems like they want Dragon.
Yeah, Dragon is up in very short time, and as I said, ooh, Ragnarok gonna come in all the way, but with Stridebreaker, the wall gonna come in and cut off the rest of the team. So Hopian, oh, gonna make a wise choice and run back, but the Lilting Lullaby is with the curtain call, gonna find I'm Poofy. Great combo coming out from NJCU, but Q is going to be chunked out here, and it is still going to be scary for them to look for this dragon. I think Q should just back and look for a TP back, but KP Cooper, ooh, not gonna, the Undertow's not gonna hit, but ooh, Paco Parrot's gonna end up going down after using the Strangle Thorns, but he is end up going down. Oh, and another kill for Never Be Over Gamer, cleaning up the backside of that fight with his ultimate.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, and that's why you kind of always have to be worried around this team because they are so strong. Uh, the Lucian can always dash forward and do a bunch of damage to anyone there, and Catawba is doing an interesting job here of saying, okay, if we think we are going to win this fight in the long term, it doesn't matter if we throw some of our carries to their death in the short term. Like, NJCU had a 4v5. They had up fairly well as well, and they just started off by saying, okay, we think that we can do enough damage to kill all of you before you can even try to match a majority of our members. So if we just throw all 5 members of our team at you, or all 4 that were alive at you, then we don't think you're going to be able to figure it out in time to either disengage or kill us all. And Catawba was correct on that. So
Yeah,
overall, just
NJCU had an opportunity there with the 5v4 that they were given, but the main thing was they really needed to really play around the positioning advantage that they were able to gain with that. They Half the team was kind of still sitting in their jungle, the other half of the team was sitting in the river. They needed to all commit together, but KP Cooper gonna get committed onto, but the Deadly Flourish gonna find himself a little bit of sustain to keep himself alive, but the ultimate and the sniff just gonna do so much damage, and Jin gonna end up going down, not gonna stay alive. Oh, but
yeah.
the flash ultimate coming out from Anivia, not gonna be enough. The E gonna come out from the Gwen, gonna get him over the wall and out, and that's a 2-item Gwen with a stopwatch. So even if she needed it, had the stopwatch at the ready.
hmm And I guess I'm wondering at this point, how is Catawba going to close out this game? Because so far, they have gotten a bunch of kills and a bunch of gold, and they've pushed things fairly far, impressively far for this stage of the game. The 1-3-1 strategy has worked fairly well, although some of it was also just based on having champions that run down a turret fairly well, combined with uh, a big Rift Herald in the mid lane. But I'm curious to see how Catawba is going to try to push this game even further, because NJCU can turtle for a while, and they are turtling for a while. They've lost a couple players, whatever. They are just going to turtle for a bit. And I think that Catawba, okay, now they're forcing the Baron, and that is what they need to be doing right
And
now.
there's a no vision on this from NGCU, so it looks like it's just gonna be a free Baron. Pago Paris is gonna be trying to come in, but it's
Yeah,
gonna
they're
be
not
too
gonna check
little
it in
too
time.
late. Hopian is gonna be able to get it and never be game over, is just pushing to his heart's content in this bot lane with a
Mhm.
completed Zanya's Hourglass at this point.
Yeah, and that was one of the scary things is that, I mean, oh hey, they just pushed in their mid lane with 2 members. They've got one of their strongest members, their top laner, is just sitting in bot lane. We can't we can't respond to Baron fast enough and also respond to all these other things. And that's the advantage that Catawba was able to push right there in order to secure that Baron before NJCU is really able to know what was up. And now with that Baron, Catawba should be able to close out this game, make a even more insurmountable lead, and just make this game end. Uh, but even with that, it's, it might be a bit of a slow process. They have to push in all the waves again. But even
Yeah,
still, I think they should finish it out.
yeah, they are trying to flex their 1-3-1 muscles. All their tier 2s are down, so they really need to crack an inhib. And honestly, I think even with such strong... Oh, never mind. Bot lane tier 2 still up. But probably won't be for too long with this Baron buff on Gwen, and Paco Perry are going to look for something, but not going to find anything quite yet. Just
Got
going
3
to come
members
in
down
for some
here.
assistance. Three people are down here. The Howling Mist going to come out as well as the ultimate. Ooh. And
Yeah.
beautiful shutdown coming up from KP Cooper, getting a little bit overzealous. Never be game over. Ooh, Ragnar gonna come out, and the flash as well, but not gonna find anything. The flash from the Jin gonna be committed, and on the other side of the map we see The Lucian just whacking away at this top lane inhib tower by himself. Uncontested. Ooh, gonna have to commit the flash. A little bit too scared. The mid lane inhib turret does end up going down as well. And third dragon or fourth dragon gonna end up going over to Catawba. So that's 2 dragons a piece for either side.
Yeah, if I were a Catawba fan, I would probably want them to be a bit cleaner with this lead that they have. That was a funny steal. Uh, but even with Catawba not playing especially clean right now, they're taking pretty good trades cross map. And at the end of the day, they're not giving up anything that will allow NJCU significantly back into the game, at least not yet. So as long as Catawba can slowly knock down these inhibitors, I mean, I would. The Baron's pretty close to running out. It would be kind of a disappointment to go this entire Baron without taking an inhibitor after being already down to the inhibitor turrets. But they're pushing NJCU closer and closer into their base.
There are 2 open inhibs, and the main problem. Ooh, off the bat, Culling gonna get ripped, but not gonna find enough damage. Scavs ate my legs, gonna
Uh-oh.
not have enough time, but ooh, Catch Your Feelings looking for something, but gonna get caught out, not quite, by the curtain call. Not gonna find that 4th shot, but a decent amount of damage coming out from the Anivia. And it's just a dance back and forth with all 3 inhibs open. Without inhib turrets, it becomes a lot difficult, or a lot more difficult to really defend against these pushes. And you don't really need a Baron buff to kind of make sure that you have one of these inhibitors down. And level 17, as well as the ultimate coming in. Not gonna get punished. Untargetable because of that Hallowing Mist, and not gonna have quite enough damage to take out the Anivia with that ultimate. Gonna look to go back in, but with all the mobility that Gwen has in her kit, gonna be able to make it out. Deadly Flourish gonna land, but no follow-up after that.
Yep. And this one, getting a little bit. Catawba is at such a massive advantage that it feels like this game should have been done before 30 minutes. I mean, we are at 30 minutes now, but I really do feel like, and I mean, it's always that difficult thing as a caster where it's like, yeah, they won, and I can't like criticize them as much because they did win, but even though they won in a way that like I felt a little weird about, where it's like, okay, you probably could have done this or this better in order to try to win the game a bit faster, but fundamentally, it's very unlikely that they will even find a way to allow NJCU to get much of anything in this game at this point. That's the mid lane inhibitor. They took the bottom lane inhibitor. It's probably going to be triple inhib now. Yep, there it is.
Yep. And now 2 super minions coming in every single wave. Karma almost gonna get punished after getting hit by that lilting lullaby, but never be game over. Gonna make so much space with this Hallowing Mist. Lasagna's gonna be committed as well. Gonna try to stay alive, but the Fear Beyond Death gonna come in and snipe the Gwen, and the Curtain Call gonna miss as well. The Disdain gonna get close, but no cigar. The slow gonna land, but the exhaust gonna keep Bot Senpai alive.
Yeah, and that's another case of Catawba not taking the most advisable of fights, but getting away with pretty mild casualties. Only really the 1 top lane death, a couple of flashes burned, but matched on the other side. NJCU unlikely to be able to break very far out of their base because of this. Catawba now can probably walk right back to Baron and go for that again and not really have problems with it. And as soon as they have that Baron, they can march it down into the base to win. And that's exactly what they're doing.
gonna try to be the savior, gonna put the ward on, see that they're doing it, but Ben's or Bot Senpai gonna find him doing it. Stranglethorn's gonna come out, but
Uh-oh.
the smite's gonna secure it, and Gwen gonna clean up the Zyra. And
I think that's
now
the game.
TP.
No.
Ooh, TP. Nervy game over, looking for the Anivia, gonna get walled off, but still gonna be able to chase her down. The Zanya's Hourglass gonna come out, the ultimate as well, and that's gonna be a dead bird. And now the Lilia gonna get knocked down. Ooh, not quite yet, but Urgot gonna get taken down, and now just Gwen sniffing everyone up. Quadra kill for it, never be game over, and beautiful stuff from Catawba.
Yep. And a rough game number 1 for NJCU. Definitely a lot of positives in that bottom lane, but I do think that uh, there were a lot of problems on the top side of the map. They were falling behind in CS. They were giving up kills. They were giving up that really big situation with the Rift Herald. They gave up a lot of plates early on with the first Rift Herald, and then 2 towers plus a big chunk on the mid lane inhibitor tower with the second Rift Herald. There was a lot of difficulty there. I think that NJCU really needs to find a way to stabilize this early game a lot more, because the mid to late game was not horrendous. For being as far behind as they were, if they were able to take those fights at even gold, there's a lot more of a chance that they win those. But they've got to find a way to get out of these early deficits that they're finding themselves in. Maybe pick another jungler, one that's a little less gold reliant, one that's a little more early game focused, to try to give them a bit of that edge early on. I don't know, just anything in lane that might help you a bit more. Not buying so many Leandries.
Yeah, at the end of the day, Triple Andrew is coming out, which is a little unfortunate, but um, really, I think the main thing that allowed NJCU, or that really made NJCU fall so far behind, is that Scavenger Legs doing a little bit of suboptimal pathing, not clearing his bot side as soon as he should have, which just allowed Olaf to walk in, take 2 camps, and be massively far ahead of this Lilia. And it really needs to be just a standard full clear, and as long as you're not getting red, your first clear should be pretty safe from both sides. And even if you're not getting a scuttle crab, you'll still be on fairly even footing, as long as if you're not getting either scuttle crab and you're getting 2 camps taken away, you're just not going to be you're not going to do anything in the game, regardless of what jungler you are, because you're going to be so far behind in the XP, and you're just not going to have anything to do on the map for so long with those camps on respawn timers. So I think if I think if that's changed, that's going to be the main difference that will really shore up NJCU's problem.
I guess moving forward, looking to game number 2, what kind of draft changes do you think that they should make, that NJCU should make, or that I guess Catawba might want to look at? I feel like
maybe something a little bit different from the Jhin. Jhin, a decently strong champion, but has a really hard time into something like an Olaf or Gwen. It just is really hard for him to deal with it. And maybe something like Isaiah, maybe an MF, who enjoys people running into them with those ultimates that they have to kind of really punish. So I think something like that is one thing that they can look into, as well as maybe a more supportive jungler. The Lilia has the secondary option with the Moonstone. They decided not to go with this game, but definitely I think having that option, maybe going for an Udyr, maybe going for a Skarner or something like that. Skarner, a very strong champion right now, clears very, very fast, can kind of keep up with all the meta junglers, and has that R that is just so strong, and really forces the enemy team to purchase QSS. And then, as well as in the top lane, I think the Urgot was fine. Obviously fell behind in lane a little bit early, but I think, if the jungle doesn't have as many problems, I think it can kind of help shore up those weaknesses in the top and mid lane, because it was just not like Lilia just wasn't able to walk anywhere once she was behind that far. So it was just really difficult for Scavs ate my legs to really do anything in the game. So it definitely is a little bit troublesome for that.
Yeah. And I do wonder if they're going to try to make any changes for this top lane because it was a very disadvantageous matchup, but it was already with two bans from the side of NJCU. Do they change up the bans that they put there? Because it does feel like Gwen was a little bit of showing off. It's such a new pick
Hmm.
and one that Never Be Game Over cannot have a ton of experience on. Uh, but still pulled out in a game like this in game number one and played it very well, and it was very difficult to play against. I think the Urgot might be something that Catawba might want to take off the board because it's one of the more annoying picks for someone like a Gwen or a Camille or a Fiora they might pick up later. One that can kind of out tank as well as outrange those kinds of champions. So maybe something that they'll take off the board, try their chances with Darius. Darius can definitely be something that gets run over by those picks, and I think NJCU might just be banning the Gwen in the the start of this one. Yep.
I think taking the Gwen off the table is also fine, because the Gwen also allowed that Lucian mid to come into the picture, um,
Mhm.
because it kind of provided that magic damage. So it makes sense to kind of ban out the main magic damage top laner coming out from Catawba. So now,
Yeah, but with that, I do think that I think these teams have to put a higher priority on Lilia because that can potentially be an AP jungler that covers over your lack of your lack of AP for the rest of your team comp. So it might be something that NJCU might have to first pick to make sure that Catawba can't pick it up and give the potential for a Lucian mid and an AD top laner, an AD like carry champion, split pusher top laner, not like an AD carry, but uh, we will see from production what ban that might be. If it is a ban and not a accidental no ban, I would expect that it is a what champion was that? Jace. Yes, thank you, production. It was Jace last time, so I'm not too. Catawba trying to take mid laners off the board, kind of interesting as their strategy for targeting NJCU. I guess they've just decided they're not too scared of carries from anywhere else on the on the map other than the mid lane. So just gonna go for that mid lane and try to cover up any options there. And the
yep,
Vi first pick. Think about that.
kind of surprising. Again, the meta right now is very fast clearing junglers. Okay.
Excuse us, we have heard from production that is a Darius pick.
Okay.
So
Darius first pick, a little scary.
it's a comfort pick for Don't Miss Your Mark. And it was clear that last game was very difficult. Catawba still has a number of options available. That could be interesting. I'll get back to that. But Catawba still has a number of options available for a potential AD split pushing top laner. Something that would be able to run over Don't lane, and just getting the most comfortable possible champions for NJCU might be the way they try to save this early game, even if the late game is going to be a bit more iffy, but it's still a bit more of their forte in terms of actual planning.
Yep,
Morgana
and the
Lucian. Oh,
Zillion.
go ahead.
Yeah, so the Morgana Lucian, very, like, I guess flexible picks, especially with Morgana being buffed this patch, so she's able to be played in the jungle pretty consistently now, as well as in the mid lane and in the support position. So she's just kind of doing whatever she wants on the map. So definitely can, as well as the Lucian can be flexed in the mid and the AD role. So kind of keeps their picks ambiguous. And a Zillion and a Poppy,
I think that's
interestingly
Poppy
enough.
Jungle. I think that's Poppy Jungle.
I
And I
guess it
do think
has to
that's
be.
I do think that's Morgana Jungle now. I was going to mention the Morgana Jungle actually. I mean, if you don't want to pick the Lilia, Morgana is an AP jungler, has a lot of range, definitely able to support the rest of your team. Definitely a very funny pick, no doubt. If I'm
Very
NJCU, I
strong
definitely
pick.
take
And
away Camille and Fiora here.
yeah, and I really like the Morgana jungle because you're seeing a Darius and you're seeing a Poppy who really like to run in, and if the Black Shield's able to be put on someone and prevent that apprehend from finding a target, it can be a really really big difference in a lot of these fights.
hmm But Catawba going to take a couple 80 carries off the board. Not a bad pick, but curious what NJCU is going to go for here. As I mentioned, does look like Fiora Camille will be the two bans. I'm curious what Catawba is going to decide to go for next. So we have gotten confirmation that the Morgana is a real pick, but we know about the Morgana jungle tech. I've seen Morgana jungle times on my own. I've seen a pretty solid Morgana jungle player showing off, and it's a very strange pick. I don't think it's very good. The buffs this patch might make it a lot better. I saw it before the buffs this patch. So the recent buffs might make it a lot better than I have seen before, but it's going to be pretty interesting, no doubt. Catawba going to go for another fairly defensive bottom lane. Karma again, and the Xayah instead of the Ezreal. Still very defensive, still has a lot of options to avoid fights, and the Jinx Zillion is what NJCU responds with. Not necessarily a great bot lane, but definitely one that can do a bit of damage, and one these players are comfortable on.
Yep, and that looks like a Talia mid lane coming
Yep.
out from NJCU, and that's a
Thinking,
champ that we have not seen in a minute. I don't really expect Talia mid lane too often nowadays, but
yeah,
she really likes this pushing and roaming style that was known when she was very heavily in meta, and
Galio is
it's
Victor, I believe, is what we heard from
okay.
production,
So
which doesn't
Talia,
necessarily make the pick make a lot more sense. It still
I
means
think
that
it's
it's going to be
fine.
top lane Lucian
Yeah,
for Catawba, which is an interesting decision. It's a range top lane, definitely something that uh, Never Be Game Over has some experience on as a prolific Jace player. The Lucian's definitely a different kind of thing, and the Darius is a very different kind of matchup. You always have to be scared of getting run down by a Darius. You can poke a Darius out quite a bit, but if he ever lands that apprehend, it's going to be kind of scary.
yeah,
So,
definitely. I think that it also it's a nice edge pick in the top lane because we don't see it too often in the top lane because it can just kind of get run down by a lot of these tankier top laner or these juggernauts. Um, but definitely I think into the Darius, I think it should be fine. But again, it's very, very based on execution. And from Never Be Game Over, we expect a pretty high level of execution if he is deciding to take that Lucian into the top lane. So can make sense and be, quite a threat in that top lane. So, Lucian top lane, Morgana jungle, what was it? The Victor in the mid lane, and then the
Xayah
Xayah
Karma
Karma
bot.
in the bot lane. So again, no front line from this Catawba team once again. So it's gonna be quite scary, and we see the Poppy jungle coming out for KP Cooper this time, and Paco Parrot moving back into the mid lane, and Chuki coming into the AD carry role, and level 1 Baby Slime's famous Zillion in the bot lane. So definitely a game of comfort picks at this point, but I really want to see what this Talia can get going when she is able to, maybe get a push in on the Victor, because early game, until Victor has the initial E evolution, he should lose the lane push against Talia. And so I want to see if Paco Berry can find any openings to help out his top lane or his bot lane, because, you know, if they're able to get leads somewhere, then it can make a very big difference in the early game.
Yeah, and this does feel like a more traditional NJCU comp, one that I'm a lot more familiar with for this team. KP Cooper on some weird kind of off-meta tank. Paco Parrot on a bit of a strange pick in the mid lane. Chuki and level 1 Baby Slime playing two champions that don't feel like they go together, but still feel very aggressive despite that. And I mean, I like that they're going for something comfortable for them. It's definitely something they need after that game number 1, and I like this lineup a bit more. But even still, they have to break through the skill gap with Catawba, and I worry that they will be able that they will not be able to do that. I mean, Lucian Morgana is a weird jungle, and it does not feel like something that Hoppian should, like, that these two players should be especially familiar with. In the same way that in the last game, Never Be Game Over, especially familiar with Gwen, given how new the champion is. But even despite that, they played it pretty well, and they were able to make it work and win that entire game. And now they're just trying to wipe up the series right here. NJCU loses this, they're out of there. So definitely a big game for them. But I think we are going to take a quick break for spectator delay. So definitely stay tuned to the stream, and we will be right back for game number 2. We'll see if NJCU can turn this one around.
Welcome back, everybody, and it is game 2 of Catawba versus NJCU, and we got some spicy drafts coming out from both sides, with a Morgana jungle on one side, a Poppy jungle on the other, and a Talia. Got some spicy picks, and ready to see how this ends up going.
Yep, and I do think that one of the interesting points that I think we'll have to look at in this game is NJCU doesn't have any teleports, and there are 2 on the side of Catawba. Both the Lucian and the Victor are reasonable side lane options, as well as having the teleport makes them a lot more valuable than, say, the Darius, who might have some trouble getting cross map, or even the Talia, who can run a bit faster and trying to roam, but going bot lane to Baron is going to be a bit more difficult than you really want for that. So it could be difficult for NJCU to match any weird plays that Catawba tries to go for. And it could be difficult for NJCU to try to make their patented "we have more members here than you do" play really work. So that'll be an important thing to watch out for this game.
You do have access to the Weaver's Wall, though, so it's
definitely
not too punishing for Talia to not have it. It's like when Twisted Fate sometimes doesn't bring a teleport, but at the end of the day, can be fine. And now, this time we see Morgana clearing towards her bot lane, and we see Poppy clearing up towards the top lane. And I like this from NJCU. If you go for a full clear towards your top lane, can hopefully get this Lucian going really fast, nice and early, or try to get this Darius ahead early, so then the Lucian doesn't have really a chance to breathe.
Yeah, that's incredibly important. I think this top lane matchup is going to be a really big part of this game, and whether Don't Miss Your Mark is going to be able to make anything happen here is going to be incredibly important to the pace of this game. And we even saw in the last game, things shifted very quickly in the favor of Catawba. They had CS leads very early, they had double crab very early, and before First Blood had even gone down, they had a 1k gold lead within just a couple of minutes. I think Catawba wants to repeat that kind of performance. It's going to be a bit more difficult with a jungler like Morgana, very mana hungry and in general not very fast. KP Cooper's Poppy is not incredibly fast either, but it's definitely a different kind of jungle matchup. And
Mhm. Morgana does have a fairly quick clear though. She doesn't have the fastest of clears, but she is, she's done with what 5 camps at 319. So
it's
she's
not
got her
bad.
blue buff online, and she's ready to take the scuttle crab for free. So at least
Yeah.
now KP Cooper able to grab a scuttle crab for themselves. So Lucian shoving in already with a pretty sizable CS lead of his own, and now Morgana looking for something in this bot lane. Gonna be looking for the Dark Binding, but the Tormented Soil coming down. Baby Slime, gonna flash away from the Dark Binding, but gonna get flashed on by Hopian, and Hopian's gonna end up going down to the turret. Bot Senpai gonna find the root, but no follow-up afterwards, and 1-for-1 in the bot lane. Both flashes blown as well as a heal, but Paco Parrot gonna be looking for something onto Catching Feelings in the mid lane, but nothing gonna happen after that gravity field getting dropped.
Yeah, not a bad trade overall for NJCU in the bottom lane. They lose out on First Blood, but they do get the turnaround there as well as the blue buff transferred to Chuki. Uh, in general, pretty solid altogether for NJCU, although a good early back for I'm Poofy is going to maintain a bit of a item advantage until Chuki is able to back, which might be now. But if they don't decide to back, then it might be a bit of a disadvantage, as we also might see a repeat from Hopian.
Yep, gonna defend his bot lane's pink ward, but not level 1 Baby Slime gonna be able to find it, but Poppy is here, and the Dark Mind's gonna land, but Hopian gonna get chunked out himself and get walked down. KP Cooper gonna flash in with the stun against the wall. Hopian gonna survive. Dark Binding gonna miss. Truke gonna miss the W, and might be able to find it with a speed up, but not gonna be able to find it. The Dark Binding gonna connect, and nice side step at the end for Hopian.
That
But
was a very awkward chain of events. A really good attempt on KP Cooper and Chuki's part to try to make that one happen, but just barely not enough damage. And maybe it is just because neither of them is backed yet. Neither of them has gotten any other item picked up. Now the item's picked up for Chuki, but that's a lost flash, some lost time. The CS advantage is significantly in favor of Catawba now. And really nothing huge gained off that play. I mean, Hopian was pushed away, but Hopian already entered the play with no flash. It's not like they burned anything away. And this top lane, quietly, has been going very badly for NJCU. No kills early on, but already a 30 CS lead and pretty big item disparity.
yeah, and we see Bot Senpai finding the root onto Paco Parrot, and the gravity wall gonna come in. He's gonna have to flash out of that, and the Devil Bomb's gonna come in to keep off any further aggression. So good stuff from level 1 Baby Slime to back up his mid laner and make sure nothing else happens. But that's a flash blown for Paco Parrot in the mid lane. But as I was gonna say previously, is that we look at this top lane, and never be game over. Already gonna have a advantage, but The Dark Binding once again gonna miss from Hopian, but the Root not gonna find anything from Bot Senpai either, and the second Dark Binding gonna get eaten by a minion, unfortunately. Hopian trying time after time to find something, but not able to.
Yeah, it's kind of a strange plan so far to camp bot. It's not like it hasn't worked. I mean, KP Cooper has not found much of anything in response. Hopian is still ahead in jungle CS, and KP Cooper has not found any assists yet. Hasn't found any. Oh well.
Ooh, whew. And the culling coming out and never be gaming over. Finding a solo kill onto Don't Miss Your Mark. Even on that comfort pick of the Darius, not able to find too much. And that's double a CS and a solo kill and 2 levels up on Don't Miss Your Mark. And with a TP advantage, this is a dire top lane for NJCU.
Yeah, nearly has doubled gold already. This is a huge weak point of the map. The main thing is going to be when will never be game over. When will this lane be neutralized enough to where never be game over is okay. This is
Ooh, the Weaver's Wall gonna come in, but the threaded volley only gonna get half, and ooh, the auto attack's not gonna find it, but Don't Miss Your Mark gonna use his flash and his ghost to find it. Gravity Wall gonna come down, Chaos Storm gonna come down as well, and it's just gonna get walked down. The Dark Binding, beautiful stuff from Hopian. The red buff auto attack's gonna slow down Paco Parrot. Ooh, the W gonna find it, but the flash coming in from Catching Feelings gonna take him down at the end. The Feather Storm gonna be used from I'm Poofy and gonna get himself out of this bot lane play as well. So lots of stuff. It ends up being a
2-for-1 overall.
2-for-1 overall, yeah.
Yeah, and that's what you really have to be scared of if you are NJC. That Catawba will leverage that top lane play and say, okay, even if never be game over overextends, you're probably going to overextend in return trying to take a kill from them. So we can rotate over all of our members, even if first and you have the gank down, like we're gonna make this one happen. So still getting more value out of that play at the end of things. Kataba's
Yeah, and the Weaver's Wall.
Go ahead.
I was saying the Weaver's Wall matched by the TP is all I wanted to say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, maybe Paco Parrot will find something from that. Find a gank that Catching Feelings is not going to be able to respond to. But even still, now Catching Feelings has the 2 kills, has a bit of a gold lead. So even through a bit of a CS deficit that Paco Parrot's been able to build up. Catawba, again, not really focusing the dragons this game, has already given up the first one to KP Cooper. Again, it worked last game. They gave up the first 2 dragons. They got to a point in the game where they were able to team fight. And
KP Cooper in the top lane. The culling coming out off the bat. This steadfast presence going to be used a little bit early, and never be game over. Just going to save his relentless pursuit to get out. And the Poppy ultimate going to knock away Hopian, but the Chaos Storm and the laser not going to be enough to take him down. And good stuff, but now see Paco Parrot looking over to this bot lane. The TP gonna be used into the mid lane for never be game over. So out to catch that mid wave, make sure nothing is used, and it's actually gonna be opting for the Gale Force. Interestingly enough, ooh, never be game over, get chunked out by Paco Parrot, and Hopian gonna find lots of damage onto KP Cooper, and great stuff overall. That's going to be a kill for them, and it's going to be handed over to never be game over. And now Paco Parrot looks like he wants to try to fight, but okay, Smite going to be able to confirm the Rift Herald for Hopian. And Paco Parrot finding a lot of damage with these threaded volleys, but just going to get walked down. Dark Binding not going to land. Flash going to be committed anyways. Paco Parrot just going to get walked down. Laser and the threaded volley, the ignite. Will that be enough? The Weaver's Wall gonna come out, but he's gonna go down at the end of it all from the Tormented Soil. Shuki gonna get walked down and gonna have to use his flash to not get rooted by the Karma. The Chrono Shift ended up being used as well there.
Yeah, and at the end of everything, it's another pretty good series of events for Catawba just sitting in one place, saying, we're going to take this Rift Herald. And I really don't think NJCU needed to contest that Rift Herald.
KB Cooper, gonna flash commit onto this bot lane, and beautiful stuff. The super mega death rocket gonna find the kill for Chuki onto Zaya. And now they do have a little bit of an advantage, but Hopian gonna come down to back up bot Senpai, and 2v3 under tower. Look for something. He's gonna be behind. Hopian gonna find the Dark Binding, and that's gonna be a dead Chuki. And now Hopian gonna keep going forward with the ultimate. KP Cooper gonna get rooted up and stunned, and gonna go down to Hopian. And now level 1 Baby Slime should be able to make it out. The Tormented Soil doing so much damage from this Morgana.
Yeah, even with Hopian being pretty far ahead, they've good job at getting advantages and finding the best way to use a fairly limited damage profile that Morgana has. Like, Morgana has Dark Binding on a reasonably long cooldown that's single target. The ultimate is very situational, and the Tormented Soil is probably your best damage source, but it's in one little circle. But even still, Hopian's done a really good job of figuring out how to make that damage count. And I think that one of the big things has just been also on NJCU that they haven't done a good job of making things harder for Hopian because
I'm Poofy gonna get jumped on by KP Cooper with that Predator, and they also gonna be committed as well. But I'm Poofy might be able to walk out. The Super Mega Death Rocket, not enough damage. I'm Poofy gonna make it out with just a tiny sliver of health.
Yeah, the Featherstorm wasn't entirely needed there, but probably feel very scary. Not a super wasted cooldown, but still NJCU finding more advantages in this bottom lane. They actually get first turret down there, which is a nice pickup gold-wise and prevents Never Be Game Over from getting that in the top lane. Probably very safe.
On the wrong side of the map, but gonna find safety with that blast cone, but get chunked out by the dragon as well. The Black Shield gonna save him from getting stunned by KP Cooper, and the Weaver's Wall actually gonna zone his own jungler away from the dragon, unfortunately, coming up for Paco Parrot. And now Victor's just gonna walk forward. Paco Parrot gonna end up going down, but the Chrono Shift gonna save him, and now Hopian gonna look for the Soul Shackles, gonna find two. They're all gonna get away though, and now Never Be Game Over is in this fight with his teleport, and he's just gonna run down the back line. Paco Parrot gonna go down. Level 1 Baby Slime actually gonna go down first, and Paco Parrot gonna find the kill, and now looking for a lot of damage off these threaded volleys, but not gonna find enough. Great stuff. Overall, actually a 2v3, so not that bad for NJCU.
Yeah, I was gonna say, as much as Catawba got value out of that play, I don't think that was a very good play. I think that they probably could have just kept Never Be Game Over in the top lane, gotten a tower out of it. Never Be Game Over didn't even need to be there in order to pick up the in order to pick up the dragon, and they were the ones who decided to re-engage. So I feel like they probably could have just walked out of that one and been completely fine. I'm not on that play.
Yeah, the flash from Catching Feelings definitely a little interesting, and a little ambitious, because I think he forgot about the Chrono Shift from the Zillion. So
yeah, that basically put them at a -1 at the very start of that play. And even though they got the Chrono Shift off the board very quickly and were able to work with that for the rest of the fight, probably would have been better if it would have been easier, at least, just walking out.
yeah, but Never Be Game Over not quite gonna take down Don't Miss Your Mark, but gonna get walked down by KP Cooper. And now Dark Binding not gonna hit. Tormented Soul not gonna find its mark. Soul Shackles and the Smite gonna take it down. Don't Miss Your Mark, and now KP Cooper gonna go down from the Dark Binding. Beautiful weaving in from that. But on the other side of the map, I'm Poofy goes down to the Jinx.
Yep. 2 for 2 cross map. Never Be Game Over having kind of the same issues as last
Oh,
game.
Dark Binding, another one landing. And now Hopyun might be able to find a kill onto Paco Parrot. There's one. He's going to have to dodge the second one. Flash coming up from Paco Parrot. Not trusting it, especially after those red buff auto attacks. Just make it so hard to dodge the Dark Binding.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this Jungle Morgana kind of scary.
Yeah, 7, 1, and 6. Leandry's and a book in her hand. And X-Truki gonna get caught out by that Dark Binding, and Chrono Shift not gonna matter, gonna end up going down afterwards. And Level 1 Baby Slime in no man's land, just gonna get chased down. But ooh, KP Cooper gonna get caught out and have to flash out of his own jungle. This is no longer your jungle, KP Cooper. This is Catawba's, and now this Hopyun on the journey to 25 stacks on his Medjais, and gonna take down the Rift Herald as a team now.
Yep, and we are really. It feels like we're getting that same point in this game as we did last game, where Catawba feels incredibly ahead. They have a great gold lead. Their champions are just very strong, but they might take a little while to close this one out. KP Cooper just died.
Ooh, Paco Parrot gonna end up going down as well, but the bomb should take him down at the end of it all. You know, shutdown going over to Paco Parrot, so not too bad. But the Rift Herald in the mid lane gonna take down another turret, and I didn't see where KP Cooper went down.
Yeah, KP Cooper kind of just died off screen. The game was having trouble trying to find it. And yeah, I do think that Never Be Game Over has had a lot of very impressive plays, but has also died a lot, and we're gonna see this.
Ooh, Hopyun, ooh, the Soul Shackle is just so much damage. Gonna walk down Level 1 Baby Slime, but gonna get taken down. 1,000 gold shutdown going over to X-Chuki, and now Catching Feelings gonna do a lot of damage. Ooh, but gonna get taken down. KP Cooper actually gonna come out on top, but gonna get traded over by the Chaos Storm. And Chuki, with a check in his pocket, gonna be quite happy after that play.
Yeah, I do think that Catawba.
Ooh, another fight off the bat. Never Be Game Over. Gonna be looking for something. Piercing Light gonna take him down. Chuki gonna get chunked down. Not gonna get targeted by the dragon. Whew, that was close. Paco Parrot gonna try to take this dragon, but that's a lot of people. I'm Poofy gonna just take this now. TP coming in from the Victor. Paco Parrot gonna try to get zoned by Bot Senpai. X-Chuki, 1 HP and a Dream on the side. Victor gonna come in and take down Chuki. And this should now be a dragon. Slowly but surely, I'm Poofy just taking it. No mana, not much health to say to his name, but doing the AD carry's job, smacking away at the objective while his team does other things.
Yeah, and at least this game it feels a little bit more like NJCU has a viable team fighting strategy to make it back into the game. It's no doubt difficult, but it feels like Chuki might be able to make it happen. Even still, it's going to be incredibly difficult. I didn't want to say it in Champ Select. I really don't like Talia as a pick, especially in the mid lane, especially... Well, I'm fine with Talia jungle. I'm just not... I don't like Talia mid lane. I feel like it's kind of a void of damage where you're fairly low range, you're fairly low damage, you're fairly single target. You're going to have a lot of issues trying to, especially later on in the game, make any kills happen. And with a team like this where you aren't really in a spot to buff teammates, and you might be in a pretty difficult spot as this game moves forward, it would be nice to have someone who can carry a bit harder to try to save the end of this game rather than just a Talia who's gonna have some weaving.
Ooh, KP Cooper gonna come in bot lane. Catching Feelings gonna try to one-shot Level 1 Baby Slime, but the Chrono Shift once again gonna come out, and that's 3 bot lanes, so it looks like maybe a Baron, but Paco Parrot gonna get taken down by the culling. beautiful stuff. Super Mega Death Rocket gonna chunk out I'm Poofy, and he's gonna get quite low from the Baron. But they have their secondary AD carry here now, and this should
They
be
don't
a
have any
Baron.
tanks.
Yeah, but Hopian can just tank it with the spell vamp
I think
from
they've got it.
the from Morg's passive. You should have enough from that Soul Siphon, and now Xchuki looking for something, not gonna quite find anything. And
Yeah.
resets should come out across the board, and that is 4 people with Baron buff on the side of Catawba.
Yep. And again, I feel like the Barons should be aware they are able to break the game open. Maybe they will be able to do it, maybe. But I think this is the spot where you have to look at it and say, okay, they are 10,000 gold ahead. They have the Baron buff. They are ahead on Dragons still, despite not really having a lot of priority on it in the early game. They should be finishing off this game fairly soon. There's no way that NJCU, and NJCU does not have fantastic wave clear. Jinx wave clear is fine, but not great against Baron minions, and Talia and Darius aren't really going to provide a whole lot for you. So realistically, Catawba should be able to, at the very least, get to the inhib turrets and preferably take at least one inhib.
Yeah, but never be game ever gonna look to fight with the Relentless Pursuit, and the Gale Force gonna be used, but not gonna find anything. Everything in his arsenal used. Xchuki flash coming out from Hopian, but not gonna find anything after the Soul Shackles. But Xchuki gonna get still chunked down by the Mantra Q from Bot Senpai, and Hopian gonna limp away with not the most HP, but if one of these jungle camps does spawn, it should be fine. But now Catch and Feeling is going to get caught out by the Weaver's Wall, and now she's going to get taken down by the Seismic Shove.
And the Super Mega Death Rocket is visiting.
Indeed, indeed. But Hawkins looking a little greedy, trying to stay a little longer than he should. I'm Poofy. Gets his back off, so everyone returns to base after finding that, and never be game over, getting a little bit too greedy this time, looking for a 1v2 fight, getting caught out, being a little bit too far ahead. But
overall,
now,
I think that NJCU actually gained a little bit of gold off of that play. Not that it matters a whole lot when.
Okay, Scuttle does end up going to... Okay, Catawba does end up getting it. It was close. But, with the Gale Force and the Relentless Pursuit, still not going to find it. The Flash, the calling, and he's still able to live and take it down. Don't miss your mark. And now, Paco Parrot going to be living at 1 HP. Xchuki getting chunked out by the Tormented Soul. Actually going to go down with the Leandries, as well as the... with the sorcery potion, and now Catch and Feel is just gonna flash in and take down the backline. KP Cooper trying his best to steal the dragon, not gonna get anything going, and Paco Parrot gonna run away with his tail between his legs. And Xchuki as well, not gonna find anything, and now this should be a free inhibitor for Catawba.
Yep, and I think might not be the game, but it's feeling real close to the game being over. If it lasts 4.5 more minutes, somehow they have Mountain Drake available. I don't think it should last that long. Probably they might need the next Baron, but even still, I think they'll be able to knock this game down pretty quickly. They have the mid lane inhibitor, and they've got a push in the bottom lane, even with all the response here. Chuki is almost knocked down. It's so difficult to play a champion like Jinx when you're not able to get into auto attack range without having to worry about some random ground being mean and doing damage to you.
Yeah, that one Dark Binding Torment almost taking him down from full HP, and never be game over. Getting taken down once again, not respecting this Weaver's Wall and the commitment from NJCU. So NJCU still, finding kills, finding opportunities where they can, but it might just be too little too late at this point into the game, unless they can really find something miraculous in a larger team fight where Chuki is able to pop off, and Chuki does have 3 items and has kind of is beginning to reach critical mass for Jinx. So if Jinx is able to get excited in one of these team fights, might be able to get something going.
Yeah, he's actually really far ahead of your lane opponent. Oh,
Yep,
that's
just all the
unfortunate.
shutdowns, and level 1 baby Slime gonna have to use his flash and the chrono shift to get out. KP Cooper gonna look for damage onto Bot Senpai, but that's a karma with her empowered W, and you're not gonna find too much avail. Neither of you are gonna really be able to do too much damage to each other. But oh, Paco Parrot just gonna get taken down immediately by Never Be Game Over, and Bot Senpai just still gonna be messing around with KP
Very
Cooper.
sad.
Just gonna get
That's
walked
the
down,
jungler.
rooted, slowed over and over again, and Never Be Game Over gonna take him down. You know, bring in that damage and take him down. And Bot Senpai gonna have to flash that double bomb.
That was Bot Senpai's 1v1. Really unfortunate. Never Be Game Over decided to steal that one, and that's kind of how an unfortunate game like this goes when your Poppy jungle is unable to 1v1 the other team's Karma support. Uh, and yeah, I do. Some of these champions.
Level 1 baby Slime getting
Ugh.
chunked out. Chrono Shift's gonna have to use it on himself, but Chuki is free hitting on the side now. Might be able to find something. Level 1 baby Slime gonna go down off the bat. Don't miss my mark. Is gonna go down, and Chuki gonna find 1 kill, but gonna get taken down immediately, and that is no Nexus turrets for NJCU left, and Paco Parrot and KP Cooper gonna be left alone to try to defend it. They're gonna try their best, and KP Cooper gonna end up going down, maybe? Flash after, and Paco Parrot just gonna take the full culling and gonna go down, and with the Nexus. So GG, Catawba gonna end the series 2-0.
And I believe that is also the end of the road Varsity League of Legends season for NJCU. Unfortunately, going to end in semifinals.
But still, semifinals of playoffs, not too bad.
Yeah, a lot of very impressive performances over the course of this season, and I'm excited to see what this team is able to put together in the future.
Yeah,
Very
definitely.
good inaugural season.
Yep, and it's gonna be us signing off again. This is TaazDragon and
TurquioseYoshi.
we're gonna be signing off for today.